I don't know if you've noticed, we've got some product placement that's just been added by Mr. Humphries, some Spark Community Cups. They are available at many good retailers, so well done, Dave. Right. Welcome back. What a busy networking session. I don't know about anybody else. My New Year's resolution now is to learn to play backgammon, having bought a nice set there from the shop. I do have to tell you now that you have 1 minute left to vote for your favourite product. If you have not yet voted, 1 minute left and the vote will close. And good luck making a decision, because I think they were all just fantastic, and the thought and the effort and the consideration that had gone into them was superb. So, we have got an awful lot to get through this afternoon, and one thing that you may or may not have seen as of yet is the Shaping Portsmouth podcast. I'm a bit loath to talk about it because I've not actually been asked to go on it yet, but outside of that, apparently it's proving to be a raging success, and what the team are doing today, they'll be interviewing our special guest, and that will be recorded as the next podcast that goes out. I know what you're thinking, fantastic, that'll be Yvonne sitting over there. Sadly, no, but we do know that Sir Ben Ainslie has agreed to come along and talk about that, which gives me the opportunity to really talk a lot about Portsmouth as a city to visit, to stay, and the way we all work within the community to bring that together. It's something we often forget. The reason I know Dom really well from the Mary Rose, the reason that I always knew Tony when he worked at the Spinnaker Tower, was because we would do everything together and link up. I've seen Ian and Andrew here from the port today. When those cruise guests come in, we want to give them the best possible opportunity. And the tourism business within Portsmouth is absolutely thriving. The more we can do to work together to bring more visitors in, to boost that economy, to inject the city with enthusiasm and people, and of course, lots of hard-earned money, absolutely the better things are for everybody. We sometimes forget the little things that happen in our city that make a big difference, and I don't know how many of you have done the walk behind Southsea Castle. Hands up, please. I don't know about anybody else, but the council have got a lot on at the minute, and I'd like to give a huge round of applause for how absolutely beautiful that whole area is. And that's what we're great at as a city. We want to show this city off. We want it to be the best it can be. We are all empowered to do that. I thought I was passionate about Portsmouth, then obviously I met Steve Pitt and realised nothing there on him. And I think we talked about the sea earlier, and Mark talked about the fact that for the last 2 years we've been able to host the start and the finish of the Clip Around the World Yacht Race, which gives actually quite a lot of young people and a number of charities the opportunity to earn additional funding. We've got Ocean Race Europe that we're doing as a city this year, and of course we've got the fantastic SailGP, GB, happening in Portsmouth this summer, and that's what we're going to hear a little bit more about. Now you're probably thinking, why am I up here talking away? I was just waiting to make sure a special guest arrived. I am delighted to say that they have. But first off, just to talk a little bit more about the Council of Portsmouth Students, we have as their representative, Amelia Jones, with Dave. And while you welcome them to the stage, if you have lost a phone, please see me by the side door. Thank you so much.
Hi, Amelia. Welcome onto the stage at the Guildhall. This is not at all nerve-wracking, is it? No. In fact, you're more confident than me. So we're going to record a Shaping Portsmouth podcast. It's traditional at Shaping conferences that the Council of Portsmouth students and the Youth Cabinet get involved somehow. My involvement with you guys so far has always proved that you ask the most difficult questions, which is why we've asked you to join us for this podcast today. So Amelia, can you just tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so I'm currently...
Mike, close to your mouth.
I'm currently in Year 10 at Trafalgar School, and obviously, as Dave said, I'm the chairperson of the Council of Portsmouth Students, as well as being a member of the lovely Youth Cabinet, both of these programmes facilitated by Unlock. And I have a huge passion for everything to do with student voice and youth voice, and I believe that every young person's voice should be heard and taken seriously. So please, if a young person approaches you, take their voice seriously, as this is our future and we will be living in it.
Brilliant, thank you. Now, obviously we've got some special guests today to talk to. I think everyone probably thought it was going to be Steve Pitt, but we've gone a little bit more special than that, but only just. Yvonne mentioned SailGP. We know what it is because we've prepped, but does everyone else? So we've got a short little clip that will hopefully explain to everyone what SailGP is.
Right, we're just getting ourselves organised with microphones out the back so that I can introduce our very special guests. So first off, we are delighted to welcome today the most successful Olympic sailor of all time, CEO of Emirates Great Britain SailGP team, founder and patron of the 1851 Trust, and team principal and helm of the British America's Cup team. We're also delighted that joining him today is the co-founder and CEO of British renewable energy company Low Carbon, trustee of the 1851 Trust, and long-term partner of Emirates GBR SailGP team and the British America's Cup team, Mr. Roy Bedlow. Welcome, Ben and Roy.
Welcome. Grab a seat. So I think there we mentioned that people might not know what SailGP is about. I think we've got a little video clip we want to play first. If we can tee that up.
This is fierce.
This is fearless.
This is a new era in racing. This is unstoppable.
This is SailGP.
Brilliant. That looks quite intense. So welcome, Ben. Welcome, Roy. Thanks for joining us. So we're recording a Shaping Portsmouth podcast. So we'll be putting this out for people to listen to. SailGP's here between the 19th and 20th of July this year. And we're very excited about you coming to the city. So I've roped in Amelia from the Council of Portsmouth Students to help me ask you some questions. So do you want to kick off, Amelia?
So Ben, tell us what it means to be back in Portsmouth.
Oh, thanks, Amelia and David, and thanks everyone for having us. It's good to see such a strong turnout for the event.
Ooh.
Not sure if that's my mic or sensitivity. Anyway, to answer your question, it's great. Really good to be back in Portsmouth. Such fond memories of starting the America's Cup team here 10 years ago. We were actually just back at the site now where the technologies business has really taken off, and you see the amount of activity down there and the way that business has grown and what it's doing for the local economy and creating jobs. That's fantastic to see. And back to the sporting side of it, to have SailGP coming, David, you said in July, we had two amazing events in 2015, 2016 with the America's Cup. I just spotted my teammate Freddie Carr there, who was with us sailing on the boat. We managed to win both of those events, home events. We were very proud of that, and great turnout on South Sea Common. And expect to see the same again with SailGP, as that league is just going from strength to strength.
Thank you. And the legacy of the America's Cup product continues with the base in use and in fact thriving.
Yeah, that's right. The technologies business that we set up. I mean, as you think back to when we started the team, and we were really fortunate, and I have to take my hat off to David Williams and the crowd in the council for supporting us coming to Portsmouth and having the base here, and the local government and national government for really backing us to do that. And the idea was, of course, to go out and win the America's Cup, which we haven't quite done yet. We're getting closer and closer every time we do it. But also, really importantly, it was to try and recreate, when you look at Formula One in the Midlands, something similar on the south coast of England with our maritime industry, and we have a fantastic maritime history, huge heritage, trying to boost that and really, like I say, create more jobs, more excitement in the industry in the area. And I think the technologies business has really done that with some of the projects they've got up and running now, most notably the wind wings, which the wings that we used in the America's Cup, we've now industrialized those, if you like, and putting them on bulk carriers and really getting out there into the global shipping industry to make a difference in terms of reducing the emissions in the shipping industry. And other areas of the maritime industry with that technologies business is really making a difference, and like I say, importantly, creating jobs and helping the economy, the local economy.
So the building down there is definitely quite a legacy for the city and an amazing thing, and that probably leads us nicely on to you, Roy. You've worked with Ben for a long time. You collaborated on that Canberra-based build to create a clean energy installation there. I'm told that included 400 solar panels, which saves about 60 tonnes of CO2 annually. You've also supported King's Academy school up in Northern Parade, and I believe you've just come from there revisiting what you've done this morning. So, Roy, could you tell us a little bit about the importance of collaboration and why your work with sports leagues and teams to drive positive impact is such a great example?
Yeah, sure. And again, thank you for the invite. And it is really great to be back here. We just kind of went to the base just now, and you saw a couple of images ago the aerial view of the base, and we got involved. Low Carbon is UK's largest developer, and we do large scale kind of renewables. But we got involved with Ben and team because they were pushing us to say, okay, they want to be the most sustainable sailing team. That then kind of transpired into be one of the most sustainable sports teams. And so our first challenge was to say, okay, how do we impact the electricity base of their home, really? And from that, we kind of said, okay, so we should also do something for the community. So that's when we did the King's Academy, which we've just been on a quick visit to now. And so on the academy, we provide 45% of their electricity footprint. And you see that from a kind of a small amount of panels. And then it went from there to say, okay, so when Ben and team are on the road with regards to SailGP, how do we make that team off-grid? And again, you saw another image of it. And actually, when that traveling team is going on the circuit, we're pulling all of their electricity demand away from the grid and kind of producing it ourselves. But I think credit to the team, they also went on to the next generation of that and they said, right, we'll also do the charity side of it, which is the 1851 and the platform, and providing all those tools and information as well.
So you mentioned the 1851 Trust there, and obviously I believe that's something you founded, Ben. So tell us a bit more about the 1851 Trust and what that does.
Well, the 1851 Trust, yeah, we founded that alongside the team, so some 10 years ago. And we talked about the goals, the sporting goals being the America's Cup and the sort of business development in the maritime sector, but also trying to, ultimately give something back to the younger generations. And also when you look at the challenge of the America's Cup, obviously highly technical sport and needing the highest level engineering, and actually putting a team together in the UK, realizing actually there was a shortage of engineers at that level. And so it became obvious that to try and use that sport as the inspiration, really, to get the youngsters more focused or even into the STEM subjects. And again, sailing, America's Cup has a great opportunity to do that because it is so technical. So at the base down at the Canberra, we showcased a lot of the different areas of focus from a design perspective, be that sort of aerodynamics or fluid dynamics or control systems, down to the clothing that the sailors were wearing on the boat, and to get the youngsters through and to understand what our challenges were, and again to inspire them into those STEM subjects. We then broadened that out onto a national scale with an online educational platform based through STEM Crew as we branded it, and then latterly broadened out into sustainability and to give the teachers across the country the tools to be able to teach youngsters properly about the issues around sustainability and climate change, but in a meaning, not in a sort of intimidating manner, but more understanding what they could do in their communities and at home to really make a difference and educate youngsters better about that challenge. So it's come a long way, the 1851 Trust. We're incredibly proud of it. We have the Duchess of Cambridge as our royal patron, who's been behind the Trust the whole way, and something that is really making a difference, and we want to see that continue to grow.
That's really inspiring what you're doing, especially as a young person myself, which leads us on to inspiring young people. You're both incredibly successful in your own fields. And so, Roy, low carbon's mission is to have a world powered entirely by renewable energy, which I think we all sometimes feel is an impossible goal. What keeps you going and drives you forward?
Gosh, so I started low carbon 15 years ago. Objective was to make a lasting impact on climate. Underneath the logo, it talks about powering tomorrow. And that is about powering a new generation, but also providing a different alternative to fossil fuel power. When I started, the reason why I wanted to make a focus on energy is because it's the biggest impact on the carbon footprint. Things that keep me positive and motivated, you go to a school like King's Academy, and just for a couple of solar panels that sits on their roof, you take them 45% off grid. Now, if we can do that for one school with a small amount of panels, you can extrapolate that. We can move to a positive environment of climate change. Sport and the athletes in sport are just huge spokespeople for that. And so that's the big motivator for me. So.
And secondly, Low Carbon is a large company with teams across the globe. What is the most important thing when it comes to leadership in the challenging renewable energy and climate space?
I guess some of the things that I've also taken from sport as well is set your target, set your goal, set your focus. For us, as a team, we're just over 200 people. Everybody we hire, everybody who comes to us, everybody works and partners with us. Their primary impact is to make an impact on climate. And that's what drives them, that's what motivates them, that's what builds kind of every day. So set your objective, don't let hurdles get in the way, and just keep pushing forward. So.
Great, thank you. And Ben, similar question. You have quite a few medals already. What motivates you and drives you to keep winning?
Well, the beauty about sailing is that those of us that sail, we know that it's such a diverse sport. There's so many different challenges, be that Olympic Games or America's Cup, SailGP, ocean racing, and you can never really say that you've mastered it, and you certainly can never say you've mastered Mother Nature. So I just love the challenge of the sport. The America's Cup, it's the only international sporting trophy that Britain has never won, believe it or not, given the fact that it started here around the Isle of Wight. So that's really what has motivated us all to get the job done and get the cup back to British waters. And like I said, we're now a third generation team. Every time we do it, we get a step closer. So by that rationale, if we keep going the next time, we should get the job done.
Thank you. And secondly, you started your career in single-handed sailing and now lead a team of over 200 people. What is the most important thing when it comes to leadership and leading a successful team?
Wow, it's a great question because, that's absolutely true. I came from a single-handed or individual sporting background, and it was a big, big learning curve to make that transition. And certainly I can't say that it was seamless, and I just walked into it and suddenly was miraculously able to do that. Certainly plenty of learning experiences along the way. I would say I was incredibly fortunate to have a great team around me, the team in general, but also from a management perspective who could sort of support me in that learning process. And a lot of mentors, people like Roy and other supporters, backers of the team who are very successful in business and in building teams who, again, helped to guide me through that process. And I think we're all on that learning process. I wouldn't claim to be, the world's greatest team builder or team leader. I think I've learned a lot. I've been really inspired by my teammates along the way. And that's what's fascinating about life in general, I think, is that we're all on this learning process. We can always learn new things, improve ourselves and our performance, and that's the motivator, I think.
And you spoke there about the desire to, want to win, want to achieve that next goal. But as an elite sports person, did you find that your competitive nature, which I'm guessing you must have a little bit of, does it fall out into the rest of your life and in being a CEO of a team and how you deal with people and wanting others to win?
Yeah, again, great question, because yes, it does, and particularly being a parent, I think it's taught me a lot about the the realities of life and putting things into perspective a little bit. And certainly, again, as an individual sports person, you can afford to be super aggressive and super determined, and you kind of live and die by your own actions, and that's fine. But when you're in a team environment, learning the impact that you have on other people from your actions and your mindset is absolutely critical. And the faster that you can learn that and learn how to interact with other people, draw the best out of other people, if you're in a leadership position, understand that your mood and your actions are going to influence the rest of the team. That takes time to figure that out and learn that, but it's absolutely critical in terms of trying to build and develop and lead a strong team.
Yeah, I think that's something that all of us in leadership positions can really relate to. Quite interesting. So before we get on to our final questions, you're here because of SailGP coming to Portsmouth, and for the first time in 2025 as well, which is great. It's one of the fastest global or growing global sports in the world. It's incredibly exciting, as we've seen, and clearly very physically demanding. But from a Portsmouth perspective, this event will be based down on Southsea Common. What could people expect when the event's here?
Well, they can expect to be blown away. I mean, these boats are just phenomenal. You can see some footage there. Their speeds of over 100 kilometres an hour. I mean, think of going 100 kilometres an hour in a power boat is fast enough, let alone on a sailing boat, flying a couple of feet above the water. They've got 6 crew on them, 50 feet long. They've got this wing sail technology, which reduces the drag on the boat, so it makes it go even faster. 12 international teams, best sailors in the world, and a very, very tight race course, so that the boats are constrained by a boundary on the race course, which means that loads of thrills and spills, very close to the Southsea beachfront, and it'll take your breath away. It's not how anyone would ever imagine sailing, and certainly I think even those of us who've been in our sport our lifetimes 20 years ago, if someone had explained where the sport would go and what SailGP would become, you would have just laughed at them. So it's unbelievable, the transformation of the sport in the last 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, and I suppose your passion for all of this comes through. We've spoken about your leadership position and going from sort of single sailing to leading a team. You've obviously stepped down from actually driving. Do you miss it? Do you want to be out there when they're sailing?
Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. I mean, I love sailing. I mean, it's my passion. I've been so fortunate to have my passion become my career, and those people that have experienced that will understand what I'm saying. It doesn't ever feel like I'm doing a day of work, because it's what I'm passionate about, what I love doing, and what an incredible opportunity to have had through the sport of sailing. So, of course, I want to be out there on the boat sailing with the team, but at the same time, you have to understand where you can actually make the biggest difference. And now, it's actually helping to lead the team off the water with SailGP and develop those new team members coming through. For example, we've got a really exciting young lad called Kai Hockley, who comes from North London, and Freddie, who I mentioned earlier, who's here, has helped to mentor Kai to bring him into the team, and all the way through now to the SailGP team. So they're out in Auckland. They're racing this weekend in Auckland. Kai's out there with the team, and he gets out on the boat whenever he can to get that opportunity to be on the boat and then make it all the way through to being on the race boat in the future. And that's, I think, now, you know, as you transition through your career, I kind of get more satisfaction out of seeing someone like that come through than I do myself being out on the boat.
Yeah, brilliant. And you spoke there about where to make the biggest difference. For you, Roy, clearly partnering with a sport like SailGP enables you to make quite a big difference through low carbon. But actually just reflecting it back to all the businesses in the room, what can businesses do to actually get on board with this?
I think obviously, you know, coming this summer, I believe it's the 19th of July. I think there's a great opportunity for the businesses to kind of get involved and to kind of partner with us on that. So,
And for low carbon, you work beyond just the obviously the realms of SailGP. Is there support businesses can tap in on the whole sustainability piece?
yeah, I mean, again, I think from a platform point of view, and it's not just low carbon. It's also kind of what we do with regards to the 1851 Trust and how we partner through that and how we use that as a platform and how businesses can kind of engage with that through that platform as well.
So I think I echo everyone's excitement about the event. We're really looking forward to it. I think you know, we've got a lot of major business players in the room today, so there are lots of ways they can get involved. I think there is a QR code that links people to more information, and we can certainly get that out to the delegates after the event anyway, so people can find out more and link in with SailGP, the business opportunities, the hospitality, and other ways that they can make positive impact. But I think probably on that note, I'll leave the last question to Amelia.
Yes, so the final question is, will the British Emirates GBR SailGP team win in Portsmouth and win the SailGP 2025 season championship?
Crikey. Yeah.
I did warn that they asked the toughest questions.
Yeah, no, thanks, Amelia. Well, given that we won the last two big events that we did here in Portsmouth, we won. So I'm going to say yes, we're going to get a hat trick. So we're going to win. And are we going to win the season? That's harder to answer. There's quite a lot of jeopardy involved with SailGP. The way it works, you've got to be in the top three at the end of the season, and those top three teams go into a sudden death final race to decide the overall season championship. So that's a pretty tough one, but yeah, why not? I mean, we've got a great new driver, Dylan Fletcher, who's come in, who sailed with the team in the America's Cup, did a fantastic job. So he's now in with the existing team. We've been in the top three or very close to the top three for the last 2 or 3 seasons. So yeah, why not go all the way?
Brilliant. We're really looking forward to it. It's been great to have you both join us. Obviously, everything you're doing through the 1851 Trust aligns so much with what we've been talking about before the break in terms of empowering youth, etc. So we're really excited about it. Obviously, as a little thank you for coming, we've got you a couple of Spark Community Cups to take away.
Oh, good on you,
because we
David.
do like Spark. So
Is there
thank
any
you.
gin and tonic in that? Or
There's only water in there, I'm
water.
afraid. But no, huge thanks to Spark for those. But thank you very much both for coming along.
No, thank you.